Autoline Daily is brought to you by Siemens PLM Software, transforming the process of innovation.
Here are today's top headlines. An Obama presidency is going to help U.S. automakers, German auto workers go on strike, and GMAC forces GM to double its cash burn. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Wednesday, November 5, 2008, and now the news. The U.S. auto industry woke up this morning to find it will have a new friend in the White House. President-elect Barack Obama has been far more supportive of providing a bailout to the Detroit 3 automakers. And union leaders will rejoice because one of the first orders of business next year will be to enact the Employee Free Choice Act that will make it easier to unionize the foreign automakers' plants in the United States. Growth in China's auto market has slowed. The Wall Street Journal reports that analysts are warning growth in China could slow to single digits for the rest of the year. They predict sales could be flat or even lower next year. That could really hurt automakers that look to China to offset big declines in North America and Europe. But is the U.S. car market starting to stabilize? According to Black Book, over the last 3 months, big segments of the used car market are not depreciating as fast as they were. In fact, full-size pickups, SUVs, and vans from 2006 depreciated the least. Black Book says that's thanks to lower gas prices and a drastic drop in value of those vehicles earlier this year. Amazingly, it's now luxury vehicles and import brands that are depreciating the fastest. Last month, GMAC cut way back on financing for GM dealers and customers. And last month, GM sales fell by nearly 140,000 vehicles. GM says restricted financing caused half of that drop. That means GMAC cost GM 70,000 sales. When you do the math, that means GMAC cost GM close to $1.4 billion in badly needed cash flow. And that means GM will burn through its cash reserves more quickly than previously expected. We'll learn more when GM reports third quarter earnings on Friday. The Wall Street Journal reports that thousands of workers who belong to Germany's IG Metall trade union have walked off the job. In a strike that started Saturday, 500 companies have been hit, including Opel and Siemens. The union wants an 8% raise, the largest they've demanded in 16 years. That takes cojones to walk out in the greatest financial meltdown in a century and demand a big fat raise. Archer Daniels Midland is going to start making ethanol in Brazil. ADM will invest $370 million in 2 ethanol plants. According to the Wall Street Journal, this is partly because ethanol production in the U.S. is slowing down. ADM already produces biodiesel in Brazil using soybeans, and the company also has operations in Europe and Asia. Coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Siemens, transforming the process of innovation.
It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for You Said It, where we answer some of the questions we get from you, our viewers. Matthew Hesketh asks, if Chrysler is sold to either GM or Nissan, what do you think will happen to Chrysler's EVs? Well, Matthew, my guess is if Chrysler got sold, that GEM, the company that makes neighborhood electric vehicles, would get sold. And I think the whole EV effort at Chrysler called Envy would get shut down. Here's a question from Thomas, a viewer who wants to know about the Mercury brand. He asks, do you really think Mercury has a future? Well, good question. A year ago, I would have said Mercury was dead. But now, the Ford Motor Company is going to start giving Mercury very distinctive products that were designed in Europe. And that could turn the brand around. Look for those products to start showing up in showrooms in another 2 to 3 years. And Jim Schultz wrote in to ask, John, I received an email yesterday from Pontiac about the 2009 G8 ST. What a cool car. What can you tell us about it? Well, that's easy, Jim. It's a pickup version of the Pontiac G8. It's made by Holden in Australia, and this is what they call the Ute version of the car. It was supposed to be sold in the American market, but with GM's troubles, I gotta believe those plans are now on the back burner. Remember, we call this segment You Said It, so please, your questions or comments, leave them at autolinedaily.tv or send an email to viewermail at autolinedetroit.tv. But what we'd really like to see is you. Simply post your video question or comment to YouTube and send the link to viewermail at autolinedetroit.tv. Make sure to include video comment in the subject line so we don't miss it. Please send us your videos. We'd love to see you on the next installment of You Said It. And that's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Visit our website for even more great content all week long. Autoline Extra, Don's Journal, podcasts, and even more. So click over and get the inside view at autolinedetroit.tv.